We are living in a world where entertainers are paying way more than educators. Now, what does this have to do with you? Well, if you are an expert, if you're somebody that creates content, if you're selling anything, if you're marketing, if you are on social media, one thing you want to be able to think about is how can you take information and merge it with entertainment, and therefore you get infotainment. Because if you're able to utilize this well, this is how you can start charging more for whatever offer it is that you want to sell. And today, by the end of this video, I'm going to walk you through how I think about content. And you could be like me in a market where content and your topic is serious or boring or dry or technical, and what it is that I utilize, and I'm going to attempt to put it into a system or a framework so you can start thinking about how you can take the dry, boring, technical topic and make it consumable for your audience. Let's begin. Hey, this is Peng Joon here, and today I want to be able to walk you through this very important principle, which is, if you think about the society that we're living in today, isn't it crazy that our entertainers, the artists, the musicians, the performers, all these people are being paid way more than our teachers and our educators. Now, whether you agree with it, it's not important, but that is literally what's happening right now. And people, if you think about it, would gladly pay $1,000 for an epic night out with an epic Michelin star restaurant with a pair of concert tickets. But if it comes to a weekend developing themselves in some type of seminar or workshop, that's ridiculous, right? That's crazy talk, right? Most people would be able to spend money with no problem, right? Without thinking twice on entertainment. But when it comes to information, or when it comes to personal development, when it comes to learning, when it comes to growth, most people will never, ever allocate the same budget when it comes to that topic. Now, why is that the case? Well, if you think about it, first of all, let's talk about the application. So it means that if you want to start charging more for your products, programs, and services, the first thing you want to think about is how can you elevate the status of what it is that you do, the positioning, so that your content is a lot more entertaining before you bring up the education side of things. Why? Because if you're an expert, well, experts are dime a dozen. We want to think about how can we make our content a lot more entertaining so that our audience will give us that initial piece of attention before we introduce our content. So in my journey of speaking and presenting and doing webinars and pitches and presentations and trainings, one of the things that I realized is I learned it the hard way. I've never thought of myself as an entertaining or interesting person, especially in a topic like marketing and sales and persuasion and funnels and retargeting. It's not that exciting of a topic. So one thing that I'm always thinking about is how do I make my content a lot more interesting for my audience when I'm doing it offline, if I'm doing a live event, or even if I'm doing it virtually, right? How can I make it more interesting so that my audience gives me their attention, and then only when I have attention will I introduce the dry, boring stuff and try to make it as interesting as possible. Now, the reason why I think about this is because as a student, I was always distracted. It was so hard to get my attention, and to me, most teachers are boring. But I do remember there were a few teachers that were amazing. Even though their content and the topic was boring, they were able to inject a few of these different elements that you're about to discover today. And because of that, because they did it well, I gave them my attention, and therefore, when I gave them my attention, I became a much better student. So if you are a speaker, if you're a marketer, if you're a trainer, if you're an educator, if you're somebody that wants to be able to give out information to your audience, if you want to be able to sell stuff, the most important thing to think about is how can you get their attention first, utilizing entertainment. Because the people that will get paid the most over here is not the educators, it's entertainers. So let's begin with number one. Number one, I'm gonna start off by straight up saying, number one is saying something that's outrageous. That's right. When you say something that makes your audience go, wait a second, did he just say that? Now, there are many different times when I utilize that as a pattern interrupt. In fact, let me show you a moment when I said something completely outrageous in the moment. It wasn't planned. When I was speaking at this event called Funnel Hacking Live, where there was about 3,500 people. Here's what happened.
When Russell announced Action Ethics and that you could send emails on Action Ethics, like, I literally jizzed in my pants. Okay, well, not the full load, just a little bit, okay?
That's right. Now, to put things in context, obviously there was a build-up to it. Now, some of you what's watching this will be like, that's disgusting. What was that about? Well, so basically what happened was when I was speaking at this event, ClickFunnels, the organizer, talked about a few different functionalities that I was really excited about. And just like in the moment, that came to mind. So what I believe is that when it comes to a speech, a presentation, a video, okay, it is about saying something that acts as a pattern interrupt that makes your audience go, wait a second, like, did this person really just say that? Now, what's the purpose of this? First of all, it's a couple of things to understand. Like, number one, not everybody is gonna like it. When you say something that's outrageous, there's going to be people, naturally, it's going to be offended by it. Naturally, there's people that's going to be offended by whatever, like even the slightest thing, right? People that's offended by whatever, right? So, were there people that's offended in the crowd? I'm pretty sure, right? 100%, right? But at the same time, I can't tell you the amount of people that came up to me saying, man, that thing was epic. And by the way, I can't believe that you said that on stage in front of, that many people. Anyway, so that's number one. Infotainment sometimes is about not saying what is normal. Why? Because normal is boring. And if you said what is safe, neutral, you end up getting nobody. Which brings us to number two. Number two is utilizing drama. Now you think about your favorite, whoever, influencer, thought leader on social media. Chances are, what are people attracted and hooked to? Drama, gossip. And if you want to be able to think about utilizing drama in your messaging, in your social media, there's a lot of things you could be talking about, right? You could talk about what's happening in the world right now. You could be talking about the latest thing that is controversial, right? And utilizing drama doesn't mean that you're offending people. It just means sharing your opinion on a specific topic right now, right? Just think about how you act or react to drama, right? You think about all of the top influencers out there. What do they thrive on? Drama. Now I can tell you, like, I'm somebody that avoids conflict. I hate drama, but utilizing drama is a great way if you want to be able to secure more attention and to have the spotlight on you. Which brings us to number three. Number three is personality. Now, this means, as cheesy as it sounds, being you and embracing the whole of you, which is, this could be the crazy side of you, this could be the eccentric side of you, this could be the quiet side of you, this could be the soft side of you, this could be the funny side of you, the weird side of you. You see, what people want people to see is just you being you, because that's what makes you unique, right? And I know that, it sounds cliche, it sounds like something you've heard of so many times, oh, just be yourself. But ultimately, personality is a big part of infotainment. And what I'm always doing is I want to be able to be true to myself and just be me, whether it's on video, on camera, on stage, where I'm able to share my thoughts and not try to please everybody, right? Even like what I'm saying right now, guess what? There's going to be a few people that's going to be offended by it, but that's okay, because at least I know who I am, right? Are you able to stand your ground on social media and be you, and not put up that filter where you feel that you should behave a specific way, because that's when you're able to attract the audiences that will love you for being you. That brings us to number four. Number four is utilization of props. Now, you might notice this shield if you've watched my other videos. This shield is located at the main section of the studio. And I've utilized this shield to illustrate really boring concepts like Facebook targeting objectives, right? Now, Facebook targeting objectives, well, it sounds like a really serious topic in many ways. It is, but again, infotainment means how can I make this really boring topic as interesting, as engaging as possible. So what I did was the entire video, I utilized this shield as a prop, as a way to explain Facebook targeting objectives, where I illustrated an example of this shield being a product that was the product for sale, and it made ultimately that video a lot more interesting. So this means that in your content, as you are teaching, think about, can you utilize props in your content so that it's a lot more interesting, because now it's visual, and now it also acts as a pattern interrupt, whether it's for your ads, whether it's in your trainings, whether it's in your videos, whether it's on social media. It just is a much better scroll stopper. And here's the bonus one. The next one is documenting what it is that you do, right? So if you want to be able to take a dry, boring, technical piece of content, documenting is a great way to show your audience behind the scenes to what it is that you do, very similar to what it is that I'm doing right now. So I was here shooting this video, telling you guys different ways, and now it's a little bit meta, and I'm stepping out to show you and documenting what it is that I do. So for example, you could be a real estate agent, and rather than talking about just, oh, here's your returns on investment and here's the down payment and cash flow, can you imagine if you went to an actual piece of real estate that was really run down, and you took your audience behind the scenes and you came and you showed them, it's like, today we're gonna take a look at this really beat up location, right? And I'm gonna show you how I think about when it comes to investing in real estate, when it comes to looking at hidden gems, when it comes to understanding cash flow. So imagine if you said, come follow me as we take a look at this place together. And you're gonna say, well, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna think about looking at the lightings of this place. We're gonna take a look at if we should redo the carpets, and we're gonna tally up the cost in order to create a whole new makeover for this place, right? So now you're at this location, and rather than teaching them theory on real estate, right, which is dry, boring, and technical, you are now documenting it and taking a person behind the scenes to what it is that you actually do. So if you want to be able to make your content, your sales pitch, your presentations, your webinars a lot more entertaining, show them behind the scenes and document. Which brings us to number 5. Number 5 is about polarity. There's a saying, if you try to please everybody by being neutral, you end up getting nobody. Now, polarity means understanding that you take a side. If you take a side in whatever topic, it is way better to do that than to not take any sides where you end up getting nobody. So what does this mean? Polarity could be, so it could be based on a specific belief, it could be a specific way of doing something, but knowing very well that if you say something or your belief, it's gonna polarize your audience, and you'll have at least 50% of people not liking you or agreeing with you and being okay with that. Why? Here's why. Because 50% of the people who would agree with you would love you for saying it, and 50% of you would be repelled by it and would be like,
this person is horrible or stupid or thick.
Right? Because they don't agree with you. And that's just the way it is, right? And if you are able to utilize this, whether it's social media, whether it's your content, right? This is under infotainment, to utilize polarity in your messaging. So understand something, I don't consider myself as a polarizing person at all, but I realize that polarity is a great way to get people to give you that initial attention. And the example I'm gonna give you is, for example, I recently ran a piece of ad that was very profitable, that was based on Beauty and the Beast, and the hook or the attention grabber was, Gaston would have closed Belle if he understood these principles. Something along those lines, right? And I had so many people coming on to that piece of content saying,
what do you mean? You know, Gaston was a horrible person. He was the villain. He was, you know, he was the male chauvinist pig.
Right, and all the feminists would be, you know, commenting in there. Now, obviously, if I want to be safe, which is, here's why Gaston is a bad person. Here's why, you know, the Beast was a hero, right? If it came from the safe, conventional method, guess who watched it? Nobody. Now, that ad, first of all, got millions of views. It was an extremely profitable ad because I understood how to utilize polarity. There's a method to the madness. That brings us to number 6. One of my favorite books, and I don't read much. It's one of the very few books that I've ever read more than half. I didn't complete this book, and to be frank, I've read less than 3 books my entire life. True story. I have trouble reading. I'm a very slow reader, and that's why I prefer listening or attending events. Anyway, that's another topic for another day. But one of the few books that I read more than half was this book called Laws of Power. And one of the laws of power was about making enemies. And that's a pretty crazy theory. But infotainment, one of the elements I believe about infotainment, and this ties in with drama, is about painting who the enemy is. Because that is when you're able to attract audiences, because now they see who the common enemy is. Now, what does this mean? So for example, right, I'm very biased because, for example, like ClickFunnels is a company that has helped me build up my funnels and helped my company generate tens of millions of dollars. And I remember doing a review video of ClickFunnels versus another competitor product. And I had many people who utilized that competitor product commenting on that video saying,
hey, you know, this isn't fair, yada, yada, yada.
But guess what? I knew that, again, utilizing, it's polarizing, that's number 1. And number 2, it would be, you know, not everybody's gonna like it. Now, I didn't create that video to create enemies, obviously. But that's what people wanna feed on, right? People wanna feed on drama. People wanna feed on, I wonder, like on conflict. And if you utilize this well, you will be able to make your content a lot more entertaining, because that's what people want before you start serving information. Next one. Next thing I think about infotainment is play on words. And this is more towards like email, ad copy. Play on words could be like, you might have heard of the saying, wolf in sheep's clothing, right? So for example, an email title that I've utilized before is like, newbie in guru's clothing, right? Play on words. I'm always thinking about play on words when it comes to email titles. I'm utilizing play on words when it comes to headlines and hooks, because this is what makes your content, which could be dry, boring, technical, a lot more entertaining as well. Which brings us to our next one, which is to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. If you're enjoying this video so far, it helps help the channel out, and comment below which one is your favorite so far. We constantly give out 3 different prizes to random 3 commenters every single video. So if you want to be able to win tickets to our trainings, our live events, then let me know below which ones are your favorite techniques, if it's applicable, and subscribe to the channel, switch on the bell notification button if you want to be able to see more videos just like this one. And that brings us to our last one, which is utilizing trolls, haters, and critics to fuel your marketing further. You see, most of the time, when people get a hate comment, what do? They delete it. Most of the time when they get a critic, what do? They try to ignore it. But one of the best ways to monetize even further is to utilize them as talking points, as content. Why? Because if you think about linking it to every single thing that we talked about earlier, guess what? People love drama, people love conflict, people love, and that's why most people are on social media just looking at the comments section, right? So one of the things that I do in infotainment is once in a while, if I get a troll, if I get a critic, guess what? I will utilize that as a talking point. I will utilize that in an ad. And in fact, I've talked about this in the past. And in fact, if you haven't already done so, go watch my other video of how I turn troll comments or critics and skeptics into ads, and how these ads become one of the most profitable ads as well. But that is how ultimately you start turning content into entertainment and to make your content a lot more enjoyable. Now, this is the first time I'm covering a video like this. Let me know if you enjoy this specific angle. And I hope you enjoyed it. That's pretty much it. If you want to start charging more, start thinking about how you can turn your content into entertainment so the audience will start giving you their attention. And if you truly want to get good at content creation, be sure to binge watch this entire playlist that's going to appear in front of you in about 3 seconds. I'll see you in the next video.